All right, guys. You got any questions?
Anything yet about Jarvis and the concussion protocol? When would you first hear about that?
It was sometime in the third quarter, fourth quarter, something like that. Um, they were looking at him, and then they took him inside, and then I heard he was in the protocol. So we'll let that play out and see where it is.
First time that does he have to stay in the protocol for like a certain amount of days before he can get out?
Well, I think it's a constant evaluation and test, and you have to stay in there a certain length of time before they can give you the test again. I kind of just let them deal with that, the experts. So.
In terms of him coming off such a big game, and you would like to have him, is it somewhat encouraging that you have the extra day this week to get him back?
Yeah, it is. It's encouraging that we, in reality, start practice a day later in the week. So hopefully he'll get back, at some point and get some good reps in and get ready to play.
Freddie, the Ravens went to the extent of posting an article today saying that Odell, in fact, was not choked and that their player was trying to protect himself against Odell. Do you have any response to that?
Did you see the video?
I did.
Okay. That's my response. We're moving on to San Francisco. Everybody saw the video. So that answers your question, right?
Have you heard that from the NFL about this?
I did talk to them, and I'll keep that between them and me.
Are you satisfied with what you heard?
We talked, and I got understanding and moving forward. I'll compliment Odell for this. In that instance, he did an excellent job of not retaliating. All right, so I would say that. I thought he was in some positions all day that, difficult situations all day, and I thought he handled it fairly well.
They claim he threw punches. Do you agree with that?
You saw the video.
This whole thing put a little bit more of a chip on the Brown shoulder.
I think our chip on our shoulder needs to be the next game we're playing. I think we've got our priorities wrong if we're worried about this. That's kind of my job. It's not their job, and I don't think they're worried about it. I think our guys are focused on getting better. They were focused today on meeting and cleaning up the game, making corrections on the field. They're focused on moving on to the next game. I think that's what we've tried to instill, and I think our guys have done a great job of doing that and staying focused and being in the moment.
Does it bother you that the Ravens went to the extent to post this video and story defending Humphrey's
Doesn't matter to me what they do. I don't care.
Freddie, question not about one play, but just in general. There haven't been PI calls getting overturned in the preseason or the regular season. So are you of the belief that it's not going to get overturned, and maybe that affects your thinking?
It has to be very, very clear before I'll throw a flag for PI. And it doesn't really matter to me what they say afterwards or what they say during or anything like that. It's just, it has to be, I think those are valuable, precious commodities we have to impact a game in a positive way. So to take a chance on something that the percentages are not very high, I don't think that's the brightest thing to do. But I do think you have to pull the trigger, per se, whenever you have the opportunity. With the challenge flag, I had just thrown one a couple plays before that. And the way it works, you have to win 2 to get 3. So I didn't want to play the whole second half without a challenge flag. I didn't think it was worth it.
You threw one in the preseason. Were you kind of curious to how the whole thing would go?
That was the whole reason I threw it in the preseason, just to see, because we picked out a good one, I thought, and it wasn't overturned. So I looked at the percentages throughout the preseason, throughout the first few weeks of the regular season, and it needs to be pretty definite. And the thing you run into sometimes is, would they have called DPI or would they have called defensive holding? because if they would have called defensive holding, that's not going to help you with your challenge. So that's kind of what you have to factor in as well.
Wilson's an every down linebacker the last couple of weeks. How much is on his plate from the standpoint he's replacing seasoned pro and he's brand new out there in a key position?
Well, Kirko is playing very good for us. And, Mac's an intelligent, bright guy with great instincts and awareness. And I think he's doing a good job. I think he's going to continue to do a good job, and he's going to continue to get better. So we're pleased with Mac, and we just need to make progress each and every day.
Defenses, offensive coordinators visibly try to pick on the rookie, kind of probe and see if he's going to be where he's supposed to be?
I'm sure they do. We're fine with that.
It looked like you ran a couple trick plays Sunday after I don't recall seeing many in the first 3 weeks. Was it something about the Ravens defense, or did you feel you had gotten away from that a little bit?
I think we've had them in the plan before, and I just didn't call them. And, so I guess the answer to that is yes and no. I wouldn't have called it unless I thought it was going to work, and I would have called them before if I thought they would have worked. So it's just a decision that I make.
What did you see on that? The one where Odell wound up throwing the ball, it wound up being off schedule. Did he have Brantley early if the pressure hadn't got to him?
No, it was supposed to be down the field. That was actually exactly how I drew it up, with him making this guy miss and making this guy miss and then throwing it off one leg, 60 yards down the field. So that's exactly what I was expecting to happen. But, something happens when you put the ball in good players' hands, sometimes it's more about the players than it is the coaches, right? So I've been telling you guys that.
How much do you appreciate that? Chris Hubbard was saying that players go to you and you go to them asking about what plays work best, feel best, etc. How important is that feedback from the player standpoint?
Well, it's very important because I want you to be confident when you go on the field. And if you feel like you can do something successfully, that's going to make you confident. And what it also does is gives you some insight on how they're thinking, their view of themselves, which helps you with further game planning down the road. So I think it's very important. It creates ownership, and I want ownership in our program. I want ownership from every area and every position. So I think it serves several purposes.
What did you guys get from Hubbard on his comeback?
I thought Hub played his best game to date. I know he had missed one, but I thought he played his best game up to this point, which I fully expect him to do forward too.
I know J.C. Treader played through an injury that he had a tough out for most of last year. Does it say something about Hubbard to be in there that soon?
Definitely. He came back from that injury after 1 week. He was still in a walking boot as of Tuesday of that week that we played. So, we've got all of our guys up front are pretty tough individuals, mentally and physically. You've got to be to play those positions in this league. So yeah, it says a lot about his character and his ability to fight through some things.
With Callaway coming back, does he have to prove anything to you?
Now he has to prove that he knows what to do and knows how to do it and know when to do it. But other than that, Tonio's played. He knows how to play the game. I'm glad he's back.
As long as Jarvis does not practice, does Callaway step into that spot?
Yeah, they play sort of the same spots on normal down and distance type stuff, but we'll have to just see how that all fits in.
How much time do you have before you have to make a roster move to make room for him?
I don't think we have to do that until the end of the week, so I'm not sure. That's probably a John question.
Do you have a feel for?
I know it's not anytime next couple days. So.
Do you have a feel for Rashard Higgins' status?
No, we didn't do much today. We ran some, but it was straight ahead running, and he looks like he's getting close to me. But again, I'm not the trainer.
Same thing with the corners, Denzel and Greedy.
Again, I'm not sure about that. Those are all kind of day-to-day questions.
Freddie, can you talk about how does Nick Chubb sort of embody the whole spirit of the Cleveland Browns and what you look for in a football player both on and off the field?
Well, I think Nick, first and foremost, is an excellent individual. He works his tail off every day he walks on the football field or walks in the weight room or walks in the classroom. And then you know exactly what you're getting from Nick every time he walks out there. And every time the clock starts turning, you know what you're going to get from him. And then after all that, you throw in his ability, his skill set, his desire inside from within to be successful, his resilient nature of being relentless and chasing being good. So I don't know what else you want in a football player.
Did you see that he said that he was so mad at himself on the 4th and 9 that he only got 2 yards on that kind of fueled him for this past game? What's your take on that?
Might need to run a couple more draws at 4th and 9. Maybe not that time in the game.
Last year, Hyde was in his last stretch as the starter, and Chubb was barely playing, although he had that one breakout on just a few carries in I think it was the Oakland game. Yeah. But anyway, where did you see Chubb at this time last year when you were his position coach, and what kind of stuff did you say to him, and how was he taking it?
Well, hey, Nick, he came in during rookie minicamp, and he's ready to go. He's been that way. I had a lot of friends that coached him at the University of Georgia. He's been that way ever since he left high school. So Nick Chubb's not changing. He's always going to have that pursuit of being great. And you saw it. I mean, you saw it initially. You saw it how he worked. You saw how he finished runs during practice. And we're only talking about a rookie minicamp. So he's always been that way.
Freddie, we're a month into the season. What kind of impact has Odell had on your locker room? What kind of teammate have you seen him be to the other guys in there?
Well, again, if you want to know what kind of character and what kind of player Odell is, everybody knows that he has a tremendous skill set. He's very dynamic. But if you want to know what type of football player he is, put on the tape of Jarvis's runs, of Ricky's run, of him blocking, with Nick's runs, and watch where he is when they finally get tackled. All right? So that'll tell you everything you need to know about Odell Beckham.
Going back to Callaway and his speed, kind of what he brings, is his speed a little different than some guys? Like, we saw him catch up to that ball in New Orleans last year. Seemed like he had another gear.
Yeah,
Is his speed just different? Yeah,
I think he's got great acceleration to the ball that you just mentioned. And then once he gets the ball in his hands, he can do something with it too. You know, so it's always good to have guys that can do something with the football. And Antonio's definitely one of those guys. I'm glad he's back.
You talked before about how focused your guys are. Is it as good after a win as it is a loss?
It's always better after a win. I don't buy into that. You know, we can really go back and coach them. We better be coaching them every day. And because our guys, I think, their desire for information is very high, and I think we need to give them that. I think we need to give them good information. We need to give them good answers to their questions. But yeah, it's definitely better after a win. But again, we truly, fellas, this is 3 days removed. We've truly moved on, and our focus is on next week. You know, and I think our guys have bought into that, which is crucial during the course of a 16-game season. You can only play one game a week, so you better be focused. Each game is precious.
What are the biggest challenges that San Francisco presents?
San Francisco's probably got the best front that we've faced. They're very deep on the defensive line. Offensively, they're very versatile. They create a lot of misdirections and mismatches in space, which allow them to be successful with run after catch and getting open and stuff like that. Kyle does a great job there from the standpoint of offensively, and defensively they're playing hard, and their front is probably the best front we've faced this year up to this point. So.
Is the trip going west, losing the 3 hours, and on top of that, you're going to play a game after 8 o'clock at night?
Yeah, I mean, it's anytime you leave Cleveland, it's difficult. You mentioned the length of travel, and that adds another piece of adversity. Monday night game adds another piece of adversity, more tension. You know, we're doing, this team is doing a lot of things for the first time, and I think they've handled it very well. And the ones that we haven't handled very well, we've gotten better. So we've identified a problem, then rectified that problem, like we were trying to do during training camp, you know, when we'd have a bad day of practice. So all those pieces kind of come together, and then you get in the midst of everything, and you can pull from those experiences that you've had. So I expect our guys to handle this well. And as long as you stay focused and stay in the moment, we'll be fine. Now, getting back for the coaches isn't going to be very much fun. But.
Schedule bother you at all? I mean, you go on a road to a Monday night, then you come home to a Sunday night, then you're on the road. Now you're going on the road again.
You know, I'd have made the schedule differently, but they didn't ask me when they did it. So, but we're very happy for our fans to be, you know, to play these primetime type games. It's exciting for our fans. You know, we just want to put our best foot forward for that particular week, whatever time the game is.